Well, Cathy and Linda, I really appreciate you joining me. I know it has been a very difficult almost week and a half now since the New Orleans terror attack. Cathy, this attack claimed the life of your son, Matthew. And I want to start, before we get into the details of what happened, there's a lot to talk about. I want you to tell us a little bit about Matt. And Linda, you can as well, but I'll start with you, Cathy. Who was Matt? Give us a sense of who he was.
He was just a wonderful, beautiful baby, big baby. My others were normal-sized babies. He was just almost 10 pounds. So right from the start, he was, in my eyes, a star. He just was a happy kid. He was very expressive. He was very particular.
Meticulous.
Yes, yep. Very meticulous. Didn't like his hands wet, just
dirty,
things like that, or dirty. Didn't like the snow when we lived up in New York. If he got his hands wet, he freaked out. Anyway, but he had dreams. He wanted to be a pilot. We researched different schools and the cost, and he liked Emory-Riddle and Daytona Beach area, but I said, we need to move you there, become a resident. We had all these discussions, these little sweet memories that I have of him. And, he just, of course, he played video games, and he liked to skateboard. He had a big German Shepherd named Brutus, and he would skate like longboard, where you skate and the dog pulls you around the whole neighborhood. And the sweetest thing, my neighbor made a blanket for him with German Shepherd dogs all over it, because she just would see him walking that dog every day, 3-4 times a day. Mm-hmm. I think that's so sweet. He was just a wonderful, wonderful person.
Yeah, the dog's still looking for him.
Yes.
Oh,
gosh. Brutus is still, Brutus doesn't understand that Matthew's not coming home.
Right.
And they're very devoted dogs, German Shepherds. They're very devoted dogs.
Yeah. And very loyal. Yes. Very, very loyal.
Linda, you're Matthew's aunt, and from your perspective, what has this been like? I mean, the last 9 days for you, as we're speaking about this, we're 9 days past this event. How have you been processing this?
It's been very hard. I'm very emotional, and I feel bad for my sister and my brother-in-law and their 2 brothers that they've had to go through this. I think I go through different emotions of grief. I get upset, I cry, and then I get angry about, why that there was no protection where he was. Other things, we want answers, how he really died, because still we're unsure. And until we see the autopsy report, her and I did go see Matthew at the funeral home before he's made up. And so we just have some questions. And I mean,
my husband can't go see him.
No. And we're just all heartbroken. It's been very, very hard. But through God and through the Lord, I've just been really praying, and I've been spending time in the Word. And when I get really, really upset, I just go to the Word and just pray and ask God to help me. That's the only, without our faith, I don't know how people do it. Yeah. This is,
Can I say something about that? Because the fact that you just brought that up, I think it's so, what you just said, these normal emotions, these questions, the frustration and anger that we have as human beings when something like this happens, and you want those answers, and that's normal and human. And then what you said was so powerful, that when you're feeling that, you go back to Scripture, you go back into the Word, you turn to prayer, and that's the solution. And for you, Cathy, as you've been navigating this, how has your faith sustained you?
My faith is strengthened. My life is going to be forever changed. I'm going to be able to help more people than I already help, because that's my whole goal in life, is to help people. That's
well, I know you're the rock for a lot of people.
I've had people reach out to me and remind me, remember when you helped me? Do you remember when? I didn't have totally forgot about it, but they didn't forget about it. And it's so beautiful to to touch each other's hearts. That's the most important thing. Do what Jesus did. Serve.
Well, and I've had a number of conversations with you, and I've also talked to another family member who has talked about how, Cathy, you have served and been there for others, and that you've been the rock for so many other people. And when the tables turn in this way, that's sometimes difficult to now be the one to be ministered to, but important to allow yourself to receive that help.
Because it's
Right.
important,
Right.
for my own well-being and my husband. He's so broken. Matthew, he said, all of my hopes and dreams are gone.
We keep
But he
telling
didn't
him.
mean that.
Yeah,
He
we
didn't
keep
mean- he
telling him
just-
no.
But he worked with Matthew. They worked side by side. He was kind of mentoring him, and bringing him along. Trying to have him work and have a good career, and just that you always want that for your children, to be successful, find themselves.
I want to ask about, one of the things that we just spoke about a little bit, and you had mentioned it, Linda, was the fact that maybe some information has not been given. There are still questions. Cathy, how have you dealt with that uncertainty? What information do you feel you haven't been given that you'd like to be given? Just help us sort of understand that part of the puzzle here.
Well, the manner of his death is never going to change. It's a homicide. He was, so, the secondary cause, we just want to know what happened. We were told different things and stories, and now that we've seen his body, we have questions, and we have a right to know. I mean, I know there's video out there.
Yes. Yes.
I understand it's an FBI investigation. I totally respect my law enforcement people.
Yes.
My two nephews are police officers, and I'm perfectly fine with the process. We
just want answers.
Yeah.
We want answers. And
Yes.
she, as a mother, she deserves answers.
Right.
Any mother would want answers. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
And
I
because she was told one thing when she first went to the hospital, and then once we looked at the body, the funeral director or funeral person that looked at the body said something different. So, and then we looked at the body, and then she had her best friend who's a nurse that came with us to look at the body, and she said it looks like he was shot, in his femoral artery, and then but he was,
yeah.
also hit,
Yeah,
of course.
but that wasn't
But
what
we know
caused
that
his
the
death.
terrorist didn't hit him with the truck, because his two friends that were eyewitnesses there saw it. They were there with Matthew. So what hit Matthew?
Right.
We just don't know. So
And they're
Something-
important questions.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We still have
Yeah.
questions. Yeah.
Yes.
Cathy, what would your message be to the world watching this? Because events like this, they create so many questions, they create so many fears in people, and you're living this out. You're experiencing the direct result of a terror attack, which seems almost unimaginable. What would your message be to others as they're processing this? Because it does create a lot of anger, and you and your family, more than anyone, you have the right to feel that anger. You're experiencing it. But what would you say just about anger, forgiveness, the reaction that people should have in moments like this?
Well, my reaction is always forgiveness
Right.
always, as a Christian.
Yes.
But I just say, we can't live our lives in fear.
No.
What do we have to fear? We have eternity. We believe where we're going to spend our eternity. So,
Yes.
we just need to love people, forgive people. We're human. That's why Christ came for us. That's why God sent his son to die for us,
Yes.
because
Absolutely.
we needed a savior,
We needed saving.
and
Yes.
we need him now. So don't live in fear. Just help people as much as you can, even if it hurts. Just help people.
And forgive.
Do what Christ did.
Yes,
Do
yes.
what Christ did.
What would Jesus
Laid
do?
down his life. He was a prince. He was God's son, and he came humble. That's how I want to be, humble.
And that is a tough thing. That is a
I don't deserve anything good. I'm a sinner. I don't
Like
deserve
everybody
anything
else,
good.
right?
that pain, that ability to forgive is very powerful to hear you both say that because you're experiencing all of those emotions and you're going through this. You're in the middle of it. I mean, this just happened. And one of the big things for me that you don't often get to see people when they're doing interviews talk about some of the themes that we're talking about right now, faith, forgiveness,
Yes, I
finding
know.
God
They
in
don't,
pain.
nobody wants to talk about that, but that's the most important thing out of
Yes,
all of this.
yes,
A man took my son's life, but I have to forgive him. He has
yes.
he has to meet with God. He has to answer for that, not to me, to God. That's how I look at it.
I want to start with you on this, Linda, and then come to you, Cathy, because I think this is really important. There are a lot of people right now watching this or listening to this, and a lot of them are Christians, and they're hearing your story right now. They're hearing about Matt. They're seeing and hearing your pain. How can people be praying for you? What are the specific ways for you and your family, Linda, starting with you, that they can be praying?
Just pray for our family, that God would wrap his arms around us while we're walking through this difficult time, and pray that we get the answers that we deserve, and that the truth will come out. Yes.
Yes. And pray for comfort from my mom and my dad. They're
Yes.
elderly. My dad's
Yes.
89. My mom's 86.
Yes.
Their hearts are broken.
And pray for the other people, the other
Yes,
victims.
yes,
I mean,
yes.
they're going through just what we're
We
going
are.
through.
Yes,
And
yes. Yeah,
I just pray that everyone will get justice, and
yeah.
and that God's love will shine through and come out of this,
Yes,
and that
yes.
we'll all be stronger. Of
And
course, we're
live
never
our
going to
lives
forget,
differently.
but
Yes,
yes,
live our lives differently.
show the Lord to people that don't
Yes,
know Him.
yes,
You
yes.
know, um, Obviously, when something like this happens and it's such a national, international story, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of attention that comes with that. I know that the president, Joe Biden, that I assume there were interactions. I believe there was a meeting, Cathy, with him at some point. How did that go? What was that experience like?
It was very, I respect authority. So I just looked at it like I went to honor my son and meet with the president of the United States and his wife, the governor of Louisiana and his wife, and various other dignitaries that were there. I respect the authority of the office
position,
of
right?
the president of the United States. So I was, I felt, I should go and meet with him. And he was very personable. He shared his son. I mean, he really spent time with my husband and I was, I was honored. I have to say that he honored the families as he should have.
Yeah.
So.
And have you had many interactions with the other families? Because obviously there are 13 other families right now deeply struggling the way that you are.
We just met one of the families that was sitting next to us when we were meeting with the president, and spoke with them. And, I haven't really had a chance to meet with other family members we were friendly with, while we were there, but it was very solemn. People were grieving and I didn't want to intrude and, certainly ask any questions. I just was there to be ministered to, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You're still processing all of this
I don't know what
as,
else to say. What?
The Beshes there?
Yeah.
Oh, they were.
Mhm.
I went to school with the Beshes.
oh, wow.
Martin Besh, Marty. Well, his name was Marty Besh in high school. I went to school with him in junior high, elementary. I think elementary and junior high and high school, definitely. Marty Besh. So his son was also killed. So
I mean, it is, as we sort of come to the end of this conversation, and I'd love to have you back as time goes on and more information comes out. And as you journey through this, we would love to have you back. But I want to give you a chance just for final words here to the audience, things you want people to know that maybe we haven't talked about, that this is complicated. A lot is happening. If there are other prayer requests you have, Cathy, I'll start with you. Just final words for us before we go here.
There's a 1 Corinthians 13, love, the love chapter. Read it, treasure it, because that's what Jesus, that's him. Love is patient, love is kind. Love doesn't keep a record of wrongs. That's
That
all I
is,
can tell you. Just love people, because I do.
and that's what we
That's why
need.
I'm
And
here
that's
on
what we
this
need.
earth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Linda, for you, what would be just parting words that you would want to share?
Um, just hug your family close. And pray for your children, pray for your family members every night. That's what I do. Um, and just, forgive and love people, show the love of God. That's what, you don't even have to say God's name, just love people.
Mhm.
Just show love to people and just,
Yeah. Yes.
um,
Plant the seeds. He'll
yes,
he'll water them. He's
yeah,
so
he'll use,
faithful.
yes.
He's so
God is
faithful.
so faithful,
He
so
is.
faithful,
He
so
is.
faithful.
He is.
And he loves each and every one of us. And,
Yeah.
and I know he's going to pull us through this difficult time.
And we're going to be praying for you. We're going to be praying for you. And I know everybody watching and listening, they will be adding you to prayer lists, and we'll be keeping in touch with you as this journey unfolds. I want to just commend you both for the bravery. I don't think people realize how difficult it is in the middle of something like this to get on a camera and talk about the most painful thing you've ever experienced. So I thank you both for doing that and for showing your faith to so many today.
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.